as you know, today we are hearing from the wonderful Russell Pearson on how you can increase profit and passion in your business with simple strategies. Russell is the founder of Crimson Fox Creative Studios, host of the Marketing Report podcast, and national president of Professional Speakers Australia. Russell has helped thousands of business people for over 20 years evolve and grow their business. His mission is to fight apathy in the workplace and to reignite the spark in the hearts of business founders around the world. So Russell will be chatting to us about, first of all, how you can take advantage of changes in your business for big wins, simple strategies you can adopt today that will build momentum really quickly, how you can move from being frustrated at your results to seeing progress weekly. So Russell, thank you so much for joining us today. I'll let you take it away from here.
Thank you very much, Kate. That's absolutely fantastic. And welcome to you all to what is going to be hopefully a really insightful session. And we'll have a whole bunch of things that you can walk away with and actually use within your business basically at the end of the day. So you should be able to implement these things straight away. So welcome to the call, and welcome to everybody. I can see you all sort of coming into the webinar now, which is fantastic. So whether you're a business owner, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a thought leader, you will have seen some change recently. And that's probably a bit of an understatement. Now, that could obviously be the change that you're seeing in the business environment right now. That could just be change in your own business just because of the stage of business you're at. Whatever it might be, there's a lot of disruption. And for many of us, we can be left feeling a little bit frustrated. We could be left feeling potentially even a little bit alone because of either isolation, not having the opportunity to get feedback from the people around us that we would normally get to. And we can feel a little bit lost. So really what this session is about is it's to help you re-get that momentum, or if you are just starting your business, actually define that momentum so that you can move from survival to really recovery and then on to growth. And it's about attracting ideal clients. So not just getting all sorts of clients. I can tell you right now that there are professional services businesses, whether they be in financial or in accounting, that have so many clients right now. It's not about them getting more clients. It's about how do they get their ideal clients, those people who want to work with them and that they want to work with, because don't forget that's a choice, and who are going to bring a profitable business to them and not waste their time at the end of the day. And ideally, if you can feel good about the process, that's what I'm trying to get to you today, is how do you feel good about this process right now when things are all sort of really changing? So what I'd like you to do is, this is going to be a work session, really. You're going to actually get some stuff in here I'd love you to work on. So if you could grab yourself a paper and pen, that'd be fantastic. If you've already got something, then magic. If you don't, then I'm going to count to basically 5. And if you haven't got a pen and paper by then, well, you might have to use your phone. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So this is going to be a learning session. We are going to be looking at specific things that you can be doing in your business. But who the hell am I? I mean, why would you want to be listening to me? Well, my name's Russell Pearson. As we said at the start, I've been doing this for leaning on 25 years now, and helping people from a brand strategy space right through to business strategy, helping them grow and evolve their business. So I've worked in corporate and have seen the headaches that you get from departments in silos and trying to get those to work together for the growth of the business, right down to small business where, as we all know, the energy is so key to that business actually running and then running profitable. So there's that old adage that 4 out of 5 businesses go out of business in the first 5 years, whatever it is. It's 3 out of 5, whatever it might be. But the point is, it's got nothing to do with financial hiccup. It's got nothing to do with the person's ability to run a business. It all has to do with the energy and whether they're going to give up or not. Because that's all we have in our businesses. It's the energy to continue to take another step forward. We've got the energy that we've spent in the past, and that's what we've got in the cash that we've got now. We've got energy that we've got in the future, and that's the time that we have. We all have the same amount of time. So that energy in the business, and especially the business founder and managing director, when they're still engaged in the running of the business, is so crucial to that business continuing. I'm going to have a quick look at the Q&A box, just see who we've got in here. We've got, it looks like there's about 100 Kate O'Connors. Now, I assume they're not all Kate, but I can see lots of people there as Kate. And I can see a lot of other people too, which is fantastic. So make sure that you add your questions to the Q&A box, which is the big Q and the big A down the bottom there, if you've got any questions as we go through things. And feel free to share any thoughts, ideas, and what you're getting insights from in the chat room, because I'd love you all to talk to one another as we go through this session. So that's what I'm about. I'm about energy. How do you bring the passion back into the business to make sure that, even if the world is going to hell in a handbasket, how do you continue to take the next step and get very, very clear about what that is? So whatever the change is. So wouldn't it be great, if you wanted to move into a new market, that you would be able to confidently move into that new market and capture it, engage new customers in that space. If you wanted to get more of your ideal customers, if you wanted to design a business like the way you really want, that's what I'm going to be talking about today, is how you go about the steps to design a business. And I'm not going to say of your dreams, though really that's the case. It's the business that you've always wanted. How do you go about doing that? Because we actually have the opportunity to do that. We don't have to do business as normal. And I think this is a great opportunity, given what's going on in the world, to change the script. It's a chance for us to refocus on what's important for us. It's a chance for us to decide what business we want to be running through the end of 2020 and into 2021. How would it feel if you could create that business that you wanted? What if you actually got to live the life that you wanted based off the income you were generating, working with customers you wanted to work with, doing the work that you actually love? Like, for me, that's the ideal. And what I've loved about that is that I've been able to get to that point. Now, all things come from crisis, don't they? And whether it's the crisis of 2020 or whether it's me, 5 years ago, when I realized that the business that I'd successfully built was not the business that I wanted, there are things and times in our life when we get to actually change the direction. Now, I know you probably heard all sorts of gurus go on about stuff like that you can have the business of your dreams. But how would it actually feel if it was true? I mean, I listened to all the gurus. I listened to all the empty promises out there about this is what you can do, be more, do more. But the reality is right now, we're just trying to get off our knees and back onto our feet so we can create that momentum. But this is a great opportunity to actually build the business the way that you've always wanted. So that's what this is all about. This is your opportunity. My opportunity was 5 years ago. I was lying in bed staring at the ceiling, and it's like 1 a.m. And I'm thinking to myself, how did I get here? And I can hear down the hall, there's a little girl screaming for her mother. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not my daughter. It didn't sound quite right. And I realized, oh no, it's a 90-year-old woman who's screaming and crying because she's confused and scared and in hospital. And that's where I am. And so I'm staring at this ceiling of a hospital room, thinking, how did I get here? And it wasn't about the hospital. I knew how I'd got there. I'd come in a week earlier and they hadn't caught the problem because they said you were healthy and young. There shouldn't be an issue. And then, 7 days later, I came in a fairly critical condition. But what I realized at 1 a.m. was that the life that I'd created was not the life that I wanted. And the business I'd created was not, while it was successful, was not the business that I wanted to run. So when I'm 25, like most of you would probably have felt at some point in time, I was frustrated at where I was in life. I was working a job and I really realized that I needed to do something for myself. And so I grabbed onto the nearest thing around me. And for me, it was the Australian dream. And very much like the American dream, the white picket fence style thing, I gravitated to start my own business. I married my high school sweetheart. We had our first child on the way. And I bought my first house. So it's like classic Australian dream stuff. And for the next 10 years, I chased that dream. And I've got 3 gorgeous daughters now, which are absolutely magic. and I never regret a day in my life with them. But the business that I built, while it was award-winning and successful, actually ended up having me in a space where I didn't love going to work, because I ended up just working for my employees to keep them employed. I really wasn't getting the fulfillment that I wanted out of the business I created. And so, lying in that hospital bed, 1 a.m., staring at the ceiling, I realized something had to change. And that started the next 2 years of looking for what had to change. And I went out there looking at all these gurus, trying to find what was the answer. And what I discovered is that the answer wasn't out there. The answer was in here. And the thing that I discovered is that I had been wearing a mask. So I had been being the ultimate professional. So I had been acting the way that was appropriate. I was being what was expected. And by doing so, I'd actually dug myself into a hole of pretending to be something that I wasn't. So I took the time to take that mask off, and it took a lot of work, a lot of inner work. But what I came to realize is that I actually get to be me, and I get to be more me than I've ever been. I worked with this notebook. This is a notebook that I put a lot of ideas in, and going through the process, because of my background in branding and in business, I put a lot of ideas in here around how you can stand out in your brand and how can you engage more people by being yourself rather than trying to be what everyone else expects you to be. And I tested these ideas and I got results, and I built or rebuilt a business that now has me working with the people I love working with, doing the work that I love doing in an incredibly profitable way. And I love going to work. I love getting out of bed to do the work. And it's literally the passion and energy that's got back into me is of two little things. Having a business that is designed around me, and how can I, as the business driver, be involved in something that's going to keep my interest and keep my fulfillment while I'm growing it. And two, the belief and confidence to know that I could do that. Now, the belief and confidence is what a lot of the keys are to underlying all the things that I'm going to show you today. And I'm going to get into the specific tactics. But once you have that belief and confidence, you can really do anything. And it came from getting educated, understanding what the rules are, where I could break those rules, getting lessons from people and learning, and then actually putting it into action and road testing it within my own business, within my own environment, and actually seeing what worked for me. And once I realized what worked for me, I could actually keep running with that. And that gave me the confidence to do the things that I needed to do. And it gave me the belief to understand that I could actually have a business that was about me and not just focus on my employees or not just focus on my customers. I can actually create a business that I love working in. And in actual fact, it doesn't just look after me, it actually attracts everybody else who then believes what I believe. And it's very attractive for new markets, for people who you want to work with, because if you're in belief, in alignment in belief to the people you're working with, you're not really working a day, because work becomes fun, it becomes joyful work. And so, I love doing what I do now, and it's meaningful work, and it's fun. And so I wish that for you. So what I'm going to show you is some of these things that are going to hopefully help you to be more passionate about what you're doing, but at the same time using those lessons to engage the audiences that you're looking to engage, so you get your ideal clients, your ideal customers, the people you want to work with. So there's a couple of fundamentals I need to touch on, and they're things that you may have seen before, but I really believe that these are foundation pieces for you to look at. What are the tactics I'm going to take from today, from Russell's presentation, but how do they play into this world that I'm just going to quickly show you? So underlying all marketing, underlying all branding, all positioning is three little words. And it's not I love you, it's know, like, and trust. So know, like, and trust are the foundation of any marketing, branding, engagement piece that actually moves us to a sale. Now, I like to think of know, like, and trust as marrying through marketing. It's the idea that if you wanted to go straight to trust, think of that as marrying someone for a lifetime of business. You're not just going to walk up to someone on the street and go, "You look pretty good. I think we should get married." Because they're going to look at you a bit weird and they're probably going to walk the other way. People need to work through a process of knowing you, then working out if they like you, before they get to be able to trust you. So there's processes in the world that exist and that we need to follow them, and we need to understand that they are part of the way we do business. So if no one knows you, then they haven't got the opportunity to decide if they like you because they don't know who you are. So the equivalent is, you might, in a dating scenario, you might go to a dating site, or you might get on a blind date. Now that's the equivalent of, in business, a referral. And because somebody knew you, so somebody knows who you are and they introduced you. So how can people know who you are? How can you introduce them to yourself? Could it be advertising? Are there events that you could actually put on to engage people and pull them to you? Can people introduce you to other people? And that's a referral. So once someone knows you, you can then ask them out on a date, which means that you can find opportunities to engage with them. Now, that might be something along the lines of the event that I just discussed. That could be about making an offer to them to see if it's something they're interested in. It could be about having a meeting and actually sitting down and having a chat, whether it be with coffee or without. So you'll go on these little dates and work out if you like each other. And don't forget that it's not about the customer always liking you. It's also about whether you like the customer, because this is part of your choice. You get to decide if you want this person to be your customer. It shouldn't be chasing the dollar. It should be chasing an arrangement where you love doing the work and you love working with them. Otherwise, you're actually creating a hole that you'll end up wanting to get out of. So you'll go on these little dates, and you know what? You might get lucky. You might actually get a job off that first conversation. But often you won't be able to get a lifetime of business. In fact, most of the time you won't get a lifetime of business with that person until they trust you. Now, most people will say that trust takes time, and it can take time, but there are ways to accelerate that trust. So a very simple example is creating a promise and then keeping it. In fact, that's the basis for all trust creation. So you might say something like, "I will call you at 2 o'clock on Tuesday," and then you actually call them at 2 o'clock on Tuesday. Crazy, right? Or even better, you say, "I will call you at 2:15 on Tuesday," and you actually call them at 2:15 on the Tuesday. So this is how we actually can create promises and keep them and build trust quickly. So how can you, in your sales process, once you've decided that you want to engage with this person, potentially want to have them as a customer, what are the little things that you can build into your conversations? What are the little things you can build into your sales process that build trust quickly? Because if they trust you, they will work with you long term. If they like you, they'll work with you at all. If people don't like you, they won't work with you unless they have to, and that's definitely not the client that you want. So know, like, trust is a fundamental that underlies all the things that we are doing. The second part, and look, you probably know all this sort of stuff, but it's important that I touch on it. The other one is how we go about communicating. So hopefully you'll be able to see this board right here. But there's 3 ways that we do that, right? So one is the messages we use. 2, a specific market. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, you can. Using a specific method. Now, I like to think of it as a kaleidoscope, because you can actually change the 3 little levers and come up with all sorts of different ways to engage people. So let's say that, I don't know, you're an accountant. We'll get onto that one again, right? So you're an accountant. Right now, what's the message you should be using to communicate to your market? Well, the message probably right now is you're potentially in financial turmoil, or you're not sure how all the systems with the government are working. How can I help you? And so it's a case of hands outreached. What is the help that you need right now? Because I'm here for you. I mean, that might be your message. Now, the method that you do that is whatever they prefer. So the method will change dependent on your market. Now, there's back when my youngest daughter was about 4, I took all 3 of my girls, and I got 3 beautiful girls. I took them to a 101 Flavors ice cream shop. Now, I love chocolate ice cream, because why wouldn't you, right? Because chocolate ice cream is the best. But I had them stand at this 101 flavors ice cream shop, and the youngest can literally just see over the top of the counter. So all she can see is all these different colors, right? And I asked my oldest, what would you like? And she likes chocolate, which is fantastic. I'm not saying she's my favorite, but she might be. The second one, though, she doesn't like chocolate. And so she said, I'll have that one. And it was pink. Now, she didn't mind which pink one she got, but it had to be pink. So she actually likes strawberry, cherry. She likes bubblegum even, but as long as it's pink. Now, the youngest there, she's peering over the top of the counter. And I said, what do you want? And she said, that one. It was the green tea sorbet, right? Very complex palate on my youngest. But she got the green tea sorbet, and for some reason she really, really liked it. Now, what's interesting is if I was to go to that 101 flavors ice cream shop and go and get ice cream for my entire family, normally I would just get chocolate for everyone because why wouldn't you? But what's interesting is that more than half of my family is going to be really disappointed with that because it's not the flavor that they prefer. And so what's happening a lot in business is that there are business people trying to engage their audience, trying to engage their customers using a flavor of marketing that they prefer and not considering what is the flavor of digital ice cream, what's the flavor of marketing ice cream that their clients prefer. Because you might be, as a business owner, really sick of email, and you don't want to spam people, you don't want to send people emails. But in actual fact, the only way that so-and-so is going to see what you've got is because they'll look at their email once a day. They haven't got time for phone calls. They haven't got time for social media, whatever it might be. So emails might be the thing. Or if they don't like receiving emails and they click spam or they click unsubscribe to every single email that comes through their door, then you might want to give them a call or connect with them on social media or advertise them through a sporting club or whatever they're actually a part of. What is the method that you want to use to get in touch with them? And it all comes back to who is your market, and your market needs to be that ideal customer, the person you enjoy working with that is profitable for your business. So who is that? Who is your ideal customer? So these are pretty simple stuff. There's no like, trust. There's market, message, and method. These are things that are fundamentals, but we need to understand those fundamentals so I can actually get into the more detailed work. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So the thing that I want to talk to, especially when it comes to putting passion back into your business, and not only to put passion in there for you, although that's incredibly important as the business owner, but putting passion in there so that other people get to know who you are, know that you're human and that you're not some robot at a telecom center, for instance, and that you care. All right. So what I suggest is that you really look strongly at how to find your voice. Now, voice can be difficult to find, and your voice is really like how you go. What are the things that you talk about? What can people expect from you? What are the ways that you say things when you're saying it as your business brand? So your voice is incredibly important, and I'm going to quickly show you sort of 3 questions that you can ask yourself, which will help you discover your voice. While I'm doing this, just writing everything off the board, feel free to put any comments in the chat, put any questions about anything I've said so far so that I can get a chance to have a look at those. And I will have a quick peek there. We've got a few people on the call, which is fantastic, but I would love you to put your questions in there. I really would love to know what you would like to know about in regards to voice. And later on, I'll actually be giving you something that you can go and use when you're not here. But voice is 3 little questions. Number 1, what do you love? Do you love? What is it that you love? What do you enjoy doing? Do you have a pet that you love? Do you love your children? For me, I absolutely love my 3 girls. They are absolutely amazing and a light in my life, but I have other things that I love as well. For instance, this is something you probably didn't expect. I love blacksmithing, of all the things, right? So I love heating up metal and forging it into something new, whether that be tools, whether they actually be creating decorative, beautiful objects, whether they actually be creating, blades and knives and all sorts of stuff. It's been a fascinating world when I started getting right into my hobby. And what's interesting is that there are things in my hobby and the things that I love in blacksmithing that relate very much to what I do in strategy, to what I do in helping people build their businesses, because the forging process really is about taking something that exists, that slab of metal, and then heating it up through a process and actually turning it into something else, and turning it into not just something else that's another piece of metal, but something that's stronger than it was before because of the process that you've used, something that will actually be an heirloom and last potentially not just your life, but the life of generations to come. It becomes an heirloom. Wouldn't it be great to have a business that actually became an heirloom for you and your family? So number one is, what do you love? And the idea is that we start sharing those sort of things. But what do you love is the easy one, right? Number two is potentially a little bit harder. So what do you love to hate? All right? It's a strong word. A lot of people don't like the word hate, but what's interesting is that the conviction that you have around the things that you love and the things that you love to hate will actually be the things that attract people to you, because no one is interested in beige. No one is interested in boring. And if you go and have a look at, I see there's a lot of LinkedIn profiles being mentioned in the comments there. If you have a look at these people's profiles, which are the ones that stand out? Which are the ones that you're interested to read more? It'll be the ones that have got something different than the others. It won't be the ones where they're just saying, yes, I enjoy servicing my customers in this area of expertise. It won't be stuff like that. It'll be the things that are outstanding, that cut through the noise, that actually engage people where they're at. So what do you love to hate? For me, one of the things I love to hate is apathy. I can't stand apathy. In fact, I can't be around apathetic people. So people who don't care. So if there's someone around that's like, meh, whatever, I have to poke them. I just have to poke them until they go away, or until they fire up. Now, if they fire up, that's great, because they become passionate, and that's something I can work with, because I love passionate people. All right, so number three is, what challenges you? So what challenges you, and yes, that says challenges, that's my fantastic handwriting. What challenges you is another thing you can talk about. So these are things that you can start to discuss, and you can actually bring into your world to make you no longer beige, to make you interesting, to give you character. And it's about having that character that's going to engage people, because you'll cut through the noise. And what's fantastic about it is it brings the passion back into your business, because you're talking about things you actually care about. So what do you love? What do you love to hate, and what challenges you? For me, it's actually working in a team environment can be challenging, which is why I keep putting myself into team environments, whether it be a board, whether it be a committee, or whatever it might be, because I want to learn that process. But I tell people, not having the reins can be challenging for me. So I'm working on that, because it humanizes you. And when people realize that you're a human, they go, well, I'm a human too, and things do challenge me, so I can engage with you where you're at. So what are these things? And you can start sharing them. It's interesting. There's one of the things I do love is berries. And in particular, I like blueberries. Unfortunately though, in Melbourne, Australia, every second punnet of blueberries lately has been sour. So I'll get a punnet of blueberries, open them up, taste the first one, it's sour. And I'll probably throw them away most of the time, which isn't good for the environment. It's very wasteful, right? So, but every second one's great, and I go, oh, fantastic, yum, right? But I was sick of throwing them away. So what I did one day is I had a whole bunch of berries in front of me, and I took my blueberry, and I picked up a raspberry, and I put the blueberry inside the raspberry, right? Genius. And I tasted it, and it's a whole new flavor sensation. This is called a brasberry, and it's not something I invented, because I went and had a look, because I thought, oh, I've become a genius. I need to go and see. how I can go and patent this thing, but it actually exists already. And if you go online, you'll find raspberries, and they're literally blueberries stuck inside a raspberry, and they taste fantastic. Now, what you can take from that is that sometimes in your business, the service you deliver is the blueberry. And so sometimes it's fantastic, tastes great to the clients that you're working with, but sometimes it's a little bit sour, and often that's because it's something they have to do rather than something they want to do. Maybe there's the process around the thing that you're doing isn't exactly the way they want it to be, but that's the service, right? So what you can do is you can wrap the yummy goodness of the raspberry, which is you, around your service and create this whole new thing, which is the raspberry. So how can you go? I feel like a lot of different loves in an effort to spread myself to very good, Kate. So you can create these raspberries for your own business. So what do you love? What do you love to hate, and what challenges you? And how can you wrap that around the service that you deliver or the product that you deliver, and then create a raspberry out of your business? Because you're literally, it gives you the opportunity to create a whole new flavor for the market. No one else can be exactly what you are. So wrapping yourself around the service and actually making you integrated into how the service is delivered and how it's marketed means that no one else can be you, which means the competitive edge you have is so much higher than if you were trying to just match people on the same services and the way you deliver it as everyone else, because then you just get into a price war, and we don't want that. We want to attract people who love the things that we love, potentially have problems with the things that we have problems with, and have the similar sort of challenges so that we can actually help them overcome together. So voice, this is one way you can start creating your voice, and it's a very useful process when you're looking to reposition your business, or really even just give it a new lease on life. Now, the second one I've got for you is throwing stones, and this really comes into what you hate. This is the activity you need to do. So you want to share these things, whether it be on social media, whether it be in blogs, or however you're communicating to your customers. But throwing stones, this is where you decide what you don't like. And for me, it's apathy. So I will throw stones on social media and talk about employees that don't care about their jobs, or don't care about what the company's mission is, don't care about engaging with everyone. They're just going through the motions. I will throw stones at that because I can't stand it. I will also throw stones at the apathetic nature of some of the marketing gurus out there, or potentially digital marketing companies in particular, who will put you into a system and actually not look at you as an individual and won't care about the process that you're going through. I like to throw stones at that. Throwing stones is a way to create a movement, because you'll find that there are a whole bunch of people out there that are unhappy with the things that you're unhappy with. And if you can say, that thing that I don't like, I'm working hard to defeat it, come with me on this journey, you'll actually attract a whole bunch of people into your world simply by having an opinion. What are the things that you don't like about what you're doing? Now, to give you another example, I know a plumber in particular who hated that the industry got a bad rap for always being late, for never being on time. And so what he did is he created a whole program and a lot of his communication around throwing stones at that problem. So while the rest of the industry is showing up late, we're always on time. In fact, we're often early, and we'll be waiting out the front until that minute when we walk through the door, and we will be there when you want us to be there. We will be there at the appointment time. And so they throw stones at the industry issue and therefore create a point of difference for themselves. So throwing stones is a magic one and a great way to actually step out from where you are. So what's the ice cream one? That's what I want to talk about. Yeah. So one of the big issues, I think, with voice and throwing stones and all this sort of stuff is that you will have heard about why. Now, this is the Simon Sinek why, and most people seem to be in love with Simon Sinek because it's a very simple idea that if I find my why, and if my why is strong enough, I can defeat anything. But the reality is, we don't get out of bed in the morning for a big corporate why. In fact, we don't get out of bed to save the earth. Most of us don't do that. We get out of bed for very different reasons. And that's why I like to focus on these things rather than coming up with this big why for two reasons. If you're always trying to work out your why, you'll never move forward until you've got it right. Because I always say start with why. I say start moving, and then you'll actually either discover your purpose for doing what you're doing because you've been attracted to this area for a reason. Start with the things that you love to hate, and move in those directions, because those will always be true for you. And don't wait on getting your why right. The why can be a massive roadblock for a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs who are trying to find this bigger than Ben-Hur why that will attract all these other people into the world. But the reality is, if it's not their why and their heart, if they're creating it for all these other people, they will always be working for someone else rather than working for themselves. So what do you love? Not what does everyone else love? What do you love? And because that's going to build the foundation of a business that's going to be incredibly fulfilling and creating of energy for you as well. So number 3, and I'm just going to, just off the back of the ice cream piece. So we talked about ice cream. We talked about the method of attracting our excellent customers, the people we want to work with, the ideals. And while I write this down, hopefully you got to write all these answers down to these questions. Now, sometimes they're bigger than that, so you might not have been able to write the answers right now, but take the questions and then you can ask them to yourself later. But let's say that we've got ourselves an ideal target market. So this is our person, and for me, it's frustrated business owners who've been successful at doing what they do. And I've got this really deep persona that actually describes everything about them, right down to the detail. But they're passionate and frustrated is the core of who they are. Now that's right in here. Now, a step out from that is I actually create these rings of what was my extra people that I'm going to attract. I always aim for this center, which is my ideal, but I'm also going to get people off to the side. So maybe they're a business startup that was also passionate and frustrated. Maybe they haven't been running for over 5 years, which is my preference, but I can still help those people. Maybe stepping out to here, they're not frustrated, they are passionate and they are looking for help, but they're actually, the temperament is, that they're less frustrated, they're actually just looking for answers. And I move out there. So I'm still aiming for the center, and what I do is I attract all these people around it. But there are, processes that you need to move these people through. So just attracting them into the world doesn't mean you get to offer them marriage the first time you get to talk to them. Remember, know, like, trust. So moving people through a know, like, trust is actually moving them through 3 beliefs that I like to discuss. So beliefs. And I know there's a lot of information coming at you, so do write it down. That's why I got you to get the pen and the paper at the start. But 3 beliefs. The first belief is that they have a problem. There's a lot of people out there that talk in solutions, and so I'm the solution for this thing, and they expect that customers will come to them because of the solution. But unfortunately, a lot of people who are their ideal target market aren't yet aware that they have a problem. Now, I'll show you how to actually overcome that in a moment. But they need to understand that they have a problem. If they don't believe that they have a problem, then they're never going to look for a solution. Number 2 is that you have a solution. So in other words, they know that you exist. They know that, and that says that you have a solution. They know you exist, and they're aware of you, okay? And number 3, the final belief that will actually make them buy from you is that you have the best solution for right now. So that means that you don't even, I'll get rid of this ice cream thing, you don't even have to have the best solution in the market, you just have to have the best solution for them right now. Now that could be, the best solution in the market might be $10,000, and your offer is $2,000, and while it's not as good as the $10,000 offer, it's something that they can afford and they can say yes to right now. Or vice versa, there might be all these cheaper options, but there's a specific element of what you're offering that they really, really want. And so for them at that point in time, that's the best offer for them to say yes to right now. So these are the 3 beliefs that people have to have, and really this is the focus of what your marketing should be. You've got to help people identify that there's a problem that exists. You need to let them know that you have a solution to that problem, and then you need to align with them so that they understand that you have the best solution for them right now. And so that's a really cool way of remembering that there is a process that you need to work through. So where are your customers? Where are your prospects? Do they even understand that they've got a problem? Because if they don't understand that they've got a problem, they will never buy from you. So how can you actually work them through the process of highlighting the symptoms that may highlight the problem that they've got? So that's the three little beliefs, and the really working with your ideal customers. And then don't forget that they don't necessarily like the same ice cream as you. So how are you going to put those offers in front of those people? So understanding our target market, absolutely. We know what we're trying to do there. But strategically, how do we go about attracting them? What do we need to do? Well, all the gurus out there, a whole lot of people in even coaching and the like, will make you believe that strategy is very complex. In fact, I often hear people talk about the strategy as something literally to make it seem more complex than it actually is. But I'm here to tell you that strategy is simple. In fact, that's the piece I've got right there. Strategy is simple. This is all strategy is, right? You're here. You want to go here. This is your goal state. You need to decide how to move from here to there. So all strategy is we want to go from here to there via this path. Now, that is incredibly simple. But there is one further step, is that you shouldn't just look at one path. You should look at all the different options and contingencies you've got to decide which is the best path for you. And that's simply a case of asking, all right, so this seems like the most straightforward path to get to where we're going to go. But what if something goes wrong? What would be an alternative path? What's a faster path? What's a cheaper path? What's another way that we can get there? And then based on all those outcomes, decide on one of them and start to move forward. So this is where we are, this is what we're going, and we're going to decide that today we're going to select option number 1, and we're going to move along that path from here to there. Now, if you're already in a space and you're changing to something new, and that's one of the things that I highlighted right at the start, you may need to create a number of steps to do it, because sometimes we're in one industry or in a business and then we move to change our business a little bit and people get confused because it doesn't seem right to them that you're now in this new industry. So sometimes we need to create a pivot. And the example is that there was a client who was working in professional services, but they're in big corporate. So they're actually in a corporate finance space. And they're working in that space. Their LinkedIn profile is all about that space. And they talk about that in their blogs and things that they're actually creating. They now want to become a life coach, which is a fantastic profession and a thing that I think is fantastic. But for them to jump across the life coaching space and just suddenly become a life coach, people are going to go, oh, I don't believe that. Maybe they're having a midlife crisis, right? But what can happen is you can move from the financial corporate space to the life coaching space by making a simple pivot. And that pivot just needs to be a spot maybe here in the center where you move from, we're talking about corporate finance. Now suddenly we're talking about, for maybe 3 months, 6 months time, we're actually talking about how finance affects your life and lessons that you can actually bring into your life from the financial piece. Then once people get comfortable that you're in this space, you now make the final step across the life coaching where you talk about all the things that are helping you in your life. So you can see the transition that you have to step through, because what it does is it stops people from getting confused, but it also brings credibility from this first piece across all the way, because they can see the progression that you made. They can see the reasons why you actually did what you did. Now, we're actually coming up to close to time, so I'm just going to shoot through a couple more things, but there are no questions in there yet. So if you've got any questions about what you want to ask, put them in the Q&A box, because I would love to answer some questions toward the end of this presentation. So strategy is simple, right? So it's not that difficult. Now, the final thing that I see a lot of people making mistakes in is the actual activity, remembering that confidence and belief come from, yes, I know some information, and I'm giving you a lot of information today. Yes, I've got some information, but how am I putting it into action? And it's only when I start putting into action and actually see how that information works in the real world do I actually get the wisdom that I need to actually get confident and be confident to move forward in whatever area I'm in. So the final step is what I suggest is tiny yet powerful steps. So let's say that we have our strategy. We want to go from here to there via this path. What most people will do when they're doing their planning is go, right, well, we're going to go from here to there, then to there, then to there, then we'll be home. You know, it's the old underpants gnomes story. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, which is how are the gnomes going to take over the world? Well, they're going to get the underpants, then step 2, and then profit, right? It doesn't make any sense, but a lot of people actually do strategy like that. So they'll go, we're going to go from here to there, and once we're profitable, we're going to move to here, and we're actually going to grow, and then we're going to actually then go and buy other businesses, and then we're going to be where we want to be. And what happens is people will use SMART goals to create these, which means that they'll create a time frame, usually based off something they've got no idea about, just something that just seems like a good idea, because if they're doing something new, they've never had experience in this space before. So it's very difficult to put a timeline in. And it's the timelines around SMART goals that I personally don't like. So what you can do instead of like trying to do these big goals, and it might aim for 3 months, and then like it takes longer than 3 months, and then like you go, oh, well, this isn't working, and then you stop doing it. Let's redo a strategy and go a different way. Instead of doing that, what I recommend is these tiny yet powerful steps, which are 1 week at a time. What's the most powerful thing that we can be doing right now to move us closer to our goal? And then what's the next thing we can do? And then the next thing the next week, and the next thing the next week. And you make these things so easy to do that it's almost easier to do than not to do in that week. So you've got to make them so small and so easy to do that you're going to achieve them. And then when you do achieve them, you celebrate those wins. So you celebrate the things that you're actually doing, so that you're getting wins every single week. You're getting achievements. It's adding to the passion of your business. It's adding to you feeling fulfilled in you actually reaching your goals, because you're moving incremental steps forward every single week. A month is too long. A quarter is too long. You get distracted by shiny syndromes and things out there distract you if you're not focused on the week that you're in. Now, you might have some milestones along the way, but what is the thing this week that I'm going to do to move to this milestone? What is the next thing I'm going to do to move to the milestone? And map it out on a weekly or potentially every second week basis. So a month's way too long, and you just got to get very, very clear about that. So I've gone over a lot of stuff. We've talked about the know, like, trust, the market method and message. We've talked about Simon Sinek and his why. We've talked about raspberries and finding your voice. We've talked about throwing stones and actually having an opinion, because people want to know that you have an opinion, that you actually have something you believe in. We've talked about our ideal customers, about the ice cream they like, which is the sort of communication that they prefer. We've talked about the 3 beliefs that they actually need to work through, and we've talked about strategy and how you can actually implement that on a micro basis. How do you take one tiny step this week and then create a little celebration around it? I love the idea of like these little celebrations that help you reward yourself each week, 1 week at a time. So what's it going to be for you, this tiny little step? And what's the thing you're going to do to celebrate? Are you going to have a special dinner? Are you going to have like just a nice drink? Are you going to take some time and read a book that you like? Are you going to listen to a cool piece of music? What is it for you? At the end of the day, the key to doing any of these things is actually deciding where you are now, where you want to go, and taking these tiny little incremental steps. And I suggest that you do it by aligning your business to something you love, aligning your business to something you care about, because that's the thing that's going to keep the energy in your business and keep you driving forward 1 week at a time. Now, one of the things that is going to help you put these things into action is, this notebook that I had, the one that I wrote all the little secrets in. I've actually taken all those lessons, and over a year, I created 52 videos. So I decided that I'm going to teach people the tactical side of business, how to actually action each of the things I'm talking to them about branding in particular, and show them every single week. And so I did that. I started like with 3, and then I offered it to people, and they jumped on board. And then I'm like, oh, quick! People are now looking at it every single week. I've got to stay ahead of them, and I did that for 52 weeks. But what I went and did is I created a masterclass, which is I grabbed the 10 best that I'd created across that entire year, and I put all those ones into like a masterclass set. And so it's the 10 best videos that are going to help you put that branding and those lessons into action. And you can actually get it there. So if you go there, you can get it for absolutely for free. And it'll show you the different ways you can put that brand into action. And I guess that's what I'm leaving you with, is that it's nice to get all these lessons about the different things that we can be doing in our business, but it's the actions that we take that will take that knowledge and actually turn it into wisdom about what worked for us, what didn't work for us, and what we really engage with when we're creating the business that we want to create, which is ideally the business that we've always wanted. So I'm going to stick around and answer some questions. Kate, I know you want to get me to shush and be quiet around this sort of time, so here I am.
Please never shush or be quiet. That was amazing. I have so many notes, by the way. I was just like writing like vigorously the entire session. So thank you so much.
No problem.
I had a very quick question earlier on, which was I feel like I have so many different interests and so many different loves that I'm nervous about kind of even listing them all out because I'm not sure what to focus on. Do you have a way to whittle down what you think is important and what you don't think is important?
Yeah, what's the most important to you? Like there'll be things like you'll have a list,
Mm-hmm.
and you could probably circle 3 that goes,
Yeah.
I can't live without that,
Okay.
and it might be running the cult that you run, but that might be the that might be the thing that you really love, and if it is really core to you, then it will be the thing to share. And sometimes it takes a little bit of bravery because sometimes we don't like to share that we're like a stamp collector or whatever it might be. But
How
once
did you
people
know?
know that you're passionate about something, once they know that you care about something, they'll actually care about what you've got to say.
Yeah, you're actually totally right. And I wonder even if those things that you're really, the loves on your list that you're actually the most scared of,
Oh,
are the really important ones.
yeah.
Now there
Definitely.
are, yeah,
They're the ones that actually that have you stand out and be different from other people, because that's really the reason why you're a bit scared of them. I mean, my blacksmithing one, it doesn't make sense that I talk about that, yet is one of the most powerful things I use to align my passion for business and my process around business, because it's the very same when I actually move hot metal.
yeah, absolutely. And it's also, as you said, the thing that, stops you from being beige. It's what makes you stand out.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I have a question that's slightly related. So if you wanted to kind of tack anything onto that thought thread, the question is, how did you find your why and how did you feel about it?
Yeah, so that's one of the points that I was making, is that I hate the idea of why. That's one of my big pet peeves. I would love to have a discussion with Simon to see if Simon Sinek, to see if he actually believes what he's saying,
Mm-hmm.
because what ends up happening is that people don't move forward until they find their why. And if you read the book, it's all about finding a why that's not just for you; it's for the planet. And so it's almost too big. It's too big a subject. Now, if you can come up with it, if you've got it, then fantastic. But over your life, it may change, right? So you need to be flexible enough to allow it to change, because you may create the monster that you absolutely hate in 20 years' time. So that's why I say, instead of starting with the why, start with what you love, and ideally what you love to hate. Now, everyone doesn't like the word hate, but the thing that drives you, that go, I've got to fix that problem in the world, that will be the thing that creates momentum and potentially movement around your business. So that's probably the place to focus, is the thing you believe is wrong with the world that you're dedicating potentially a life to fix.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. Well said. Sorry, I was actually just writing down your answer as you were saying that. And then I have another question from Anonymous. When you have limited time, how do you know which tiny steps are more important? And how do you have anything, and do you have anything you can recommend to ensure that they happen? I guess so you can ensure you're staying accountable.
Yeah, yeah. So that's probably the same method that I use for creating the contingencies with the business. So you'll be here, and your next week is what you'll focus on. And so you'll know you've got this bigger goal, and let's say, I don't know, it's to set up a sales system that's not just random activities. I want to set up a system that I know is going to be something that's going to work consistently, right? So that might be here, your sales system. So you'll go, all right, what are the things I can do right now this week that I know I'm going to be able to complete, that are going to get me closer to building that sales system? and you write down all the different things that you'll need to actually have a sales system that works. And you'll go, all right, well, this week I've actually got 10 meetings, which means that I'm only going to be able to do stuff outside of that time. So maybe I won't be able to actually create anything that involves other people. All right, maybe I can do something as small as write a single offer, which is literally just a sentence that says, this is what I will give you to fix this problem. Like, it could be as simple as that. And go, all right, when am I going to do that? When am I going to actually book that into my week to get it done? Is it something that I will easily do, or is it something I'll probably do? If it's something I'll probably do, make it smaller and just go, all right, well, instead of doing the offer to the problem, I'm just going to identify a problem this week. And simply by doing that, it's going to be a massive step forward. So you'll have all these different options on what you can do, and you need to look at what's achievable this week, and then aim on that one. So it doesn't always have to be. So if, let's say 3 things are achievable. So I could do any one of these 3. Which one's going to give you the biggest benefit? And I would suggest something that's you can actually have working now and testing, rather than something that's like just part of a system that you can't launch for 3 weeks' time. So that's one of the reasons I like putting offers out there even before I build some of the products, because people will say, yo, I'm actually interested in what you've got there. I'll say, well, I'm actually going to do a pilot program for it. Come along with me, and we can build it together. So there are lots of ways. And sometimes, look, at the end of the day, sometimes you need advice. And that's ideally what I do for people. But it's having someone who can, I guess, look at what you're doing and help you go, well, out of those 3 things, that one. But you could also roll a dice and say, out of the 3 things, I'll take that one too. So, it's what you can get complete.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I think also focusing on, you said looking at those other strategies, maybe you're looking at what can get done in the fastest, what's the fastest way that you can get to this point, but also, sharpening your axe. I think that planning process is so important, and will actually eventually help you achieve those goals that you set out, those bigger goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, for instance, if you don't know what the problems are your customers are, and this is a sharpening the axe scenario, you have to go find out. So are you going to, what research are you going to do? How are you going to know for sure? That's why I like the offers are actually a great research thing, because they test your assumptions. You can go, right, well, I think people would be interested in this, and you put it out there. If no one wants it, then they're not. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
Well, I'm just going to check. Yes, thank you, Wendy. Yes, everyone, please follow Victory Offices on LinkedIn. Now, Russell, I am conscious of time. Where can we find you?
So russellpearson.com is where you can find me, all my programs and events and things like that. The masterclass just down below is where you can find that, and you can just sign up. That's absolutely for free. Contact details are on russellpearson.com. So there's also a podcast there that comes out every week, and is designed to help passionate yet frustrated business owners find their next competitive edge. Amazing.
And what's the podcast called?
The Marketing Report.
The Marketing Report. And everybody, I will send through an email after this. You'll find it in your inbox in the next couple of days, and I'll have all those links there for you as well. Once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much, Russell. That was an incredible session, and it was just unbelievably informative. We will also have a recording of this that we will put up on our V library for everyone to enjoy and obviously go back over as well. So once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much, Russell. And I hope to see you all again online soon. All right. Bye, everybody.
See you later.